Good morning. Honesty, integrity, service before self, compassion are all these words and phrases empty, meaningless jargon, all sound and fury signifying nothing. Apparently it looks as if all these words, high-faulting, high-sounding, are not meant to be practiced. All this talk of honesty and integrity is either confined to just an empty classroom talk or to give lessons in probity to the people without practicing. They always say practice is better than preaching. But this word we find that preaching becomes much more effective without practice. If it was not so, Panama Gate would not have been in the news. It would not have been there because the integrity would have wanted you to be honest. Well, why go away when we look around our political leaders? The people who are supposed to be our role models have established such parameters of honesty that do we wonder that we are honest? Do we ever think that honesty is indeed not the best policy, but it is the hardest policy? I will not go deep into the matter because all of us are aware of the reality of the situation. However, the recent happenings and the recent exposes of the Ontario government, the party in power for a long time, has revealed how fast and how long and how deep can we sink into the morass and abysmal depth of dishonesty and corruption. You haven't forgotten at least $1.3 billion loss that was a result of undesirable, unacceptable cancellation of the lakeshore gas plants in Mississauga and Oakville. If that was the only one, we might not have lost our sleep over the nights. Now comes the news that OPP has started another investigation into $500 million loss caused by the cancellation of a wind power project. Ontario Trillium Wind Power Project was cancelled in the same way gas plant was cancelled, and in the same manner the province and the taxpayer was hit by the loss. In one case by 1.3 billion, in another by 500 million. Well, that might not have been too bad, but then we had another loss of 1 billion, and that was the smart meters of the Hydro One caused another loss of 1 billion. Orange ambulance, have you forgotten that? No, I'm sure that you still remember that horrible expose of the Orange ambulance system, which caused another loss of $800 million. Then we have our e-health scam, $380 million. Wow, we never think in hundreds and thousands, we think in millions and billions. And effectively, this might still have been accepted that there can be wrong judgments, that there can be mistakes. But were these the mistakes? They were well thought of actions to garner funds for the use of the political parties I don't know whether the persons were also involved or not. That's up to the OPP to decide. Howsoever, the things still go on unchecked. The present government was in an impasse. It was faced with a teacher strike. What better way to implement what you have been perfecting over the years? Instead of getting bribe, start giving bribe. So this government gave a bribe of $2.5 million to the teachers' union. The unions which are supposed to ensure and protect the rights of the members were purchased to betray those members. Is this not subversion of democracy? Is this not subversion of the teachers, or rather the right of the employees to form unions? Is it not a perversion of the very idea of public service and the protection? Why? Why is it happening? Have you ever bothered? Is it because their crass love of money has crossed all limits? We fully know that power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. This was said long back by Lord Acton in the late 18th century. And it's as true today as it was at that time. A government which has in power for a long time thinks it's the monarch of all its surveys, and no public criticism can do anything to change its or alter its course towards good administration. And the governments which are precarious in majority want to earn as much money as possible in the shortest possible time, because who knows what happens tomorrow. So it's a heads you win, tails you lose situation. And shockingly, the more advanced countries which have always been saying that they stand for the public service, that they stand for the good of the people, are as guilty as the third world countries. I'm amazed when Transparency International and other organizations condemn countries like Nigeria, Niger, India, Pakistan, China, Russia for political corruption. Why is it that such acts of omission or commission, let me be charitable for once, let's call them acts of omission and commission. In fact, they are not so, they are deliberate acts of exploitation, deliberate acts of trying to rob people, the taxpayer. However, why is it that those organizations have never pointed out that these so-called advanced countries, that these so-called democratic citadels of probity and honesty are as rotten at the core as anywhere else? Is it the impact of mass immigration that the culture of those countries in the name of multiculturalism has been allowed to supersede the values of integrity and honesty? Well, that can be a thought. After all, you have to respect the culture of every group that comes to Canada. So the culture of dishonesty, why should that not be respected? And what better respect can be than to practice the real culture, practice the culture of corruption? This is paying homage to multiculturalism. Shocking. Are you shocked? I am. I'm shocked because at least have the courage to say that you are as dishonest as those people are. But you don't have that even. And when I see that such acts are increasing, I really feel that human greed and human avarice are such demons whose hunger can never be satiated. It's as I said earlier, an abyss which once you fall into, you can never come out. You keep on falling deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm amazed that the people accept it, that the taxpayer are happy to be raped financially because for some one thing, they do not feel that they are being individually targeted. You see, the biggest problem is that when we take things for granted and when we have a feeling that what can we do, that feeling of deja vu, when that comes into being, then we are a sitting prey to the predators. And the predators are like vultures. They would not hesitate to pick your bones even if they can do it. If it troubles you, that's your headache. If you are willing to be robbed, why should a robber not rob you? We need awareness, A. B. We need to act. In case the collective consciousness of the people is strong enough, then the politicians would be more circumspect. It's only when you go asleep or when you allow your sense of resentment not to be expressed that they think that you are in a state of being a dormant. And a dormant person is no better than a doormat. So why not step over that person? And that's what's happening. These acts of dishonesty, these acts of a real virtual robbery are in fact a manifestation of your being asleep, your being in a state of somnolence, a suspended animation of your resentment and anger. The best thing can be to call up your MPPs and tell them, look here, the day of reckoning is not for. Couple of years more and you are going to come around, and then don't give us any false sense of hope. We have seen through you. We know that whatever you say has no validity. So you had better pack up and be ready to go. And once you give the message today, you can be sure all such acts would not only come to an end, but the government would itself would ask the OPP to take measures that such acts are not repeated. And you can be sure some people would be sacrificed. Those politicians would sacrifice some people to show that they are absolutely clean. You know, like the Pilate who ordered Jesus to be hanged. And after ordered the crucifixion, he washed his hands, saying that he is not responsible. Our politicians are capable of doing so. But you needed to tell them. Politics is supposed to be a good profession. It is supposed to be for the service of the people. Unfortunately, our values have changed. Our concepts have changed. Our sense of direction has changed. And this change is reflected in the day-to-day actions of our leaders, which are in fact reflections of our own actions. We are not honest. We try to be dishonest wherever it's possible for us to be dishonest. And naturally, we get the government we deserve. After all, government is a representation of our real self. So, be honest if you want the government to be honest. And then make the government to be honest. That is the way salvation is. Otherwise, be prepared to lose millions and billions of dollars, your hard-earned money, the heritage, the inheritance of your kids would be at the mercy of predators. Protect yourself if you can. Tomorrow it may be too late. Thank you.